This episode contains discussions of trauma, violence, and difficult life experiences. Colorful language not excluded. Listener discretion is advised. I'm Elizabeth Porter. After 20 years working as a lawyer with families, abuse, and mental health, I'm done ignoring the patterns. It's time for hard conversations that build awareness, create compassion, and change lives. Welcome to Law and Porter.
So I would be rocking a baby and watching the front door for Bill to show up. Everything was in the air for such a long, long time. And it was not until a year and 9 months later that the plane was discovered. Because I didn't think of needing the strength to get it done, I just thought it had to be done. Dadgummit, let's get the show on the road.
And I was in your kitchen and you said, it doesn't matter what you put. God is going to send you your child. And I was like, that is so freeing. Did you know you were that wise?
No.
Are you ready? Okay, go
for it. No,
Hold on.
No, I was just trying to figure it out. Put
Perfect.
Two and
Well,
two together.
no. We don't get to think this through first. So I'm going to start by saying that it is my honor to interview my mom for my podcast because my mom has a history in television that I get blamed for ending your television career because people say, I don't remember what year she left television. I do. It was when I was born. And so I never got to see you on television or your interviewing. I did just an hour ago sit down and become an interviewee for you, but now it's my turn. And I get to turn the tables, and I thank you for agreeing to just let me ask a few questions. I think that you have so much wisdom to share that I don't even think you realize the value of.
You're right.
And so so this is my mom, Mary Porter. And your first impromptu question is, who are you?
Oh, gee, that's so broad. It's really hard to narrow things down, isn't it? Well, I'm a girl who grew up in a very small Mississippi town, who had the opportunity to live in a few other places out of state, came back to make Mississippi my home, married a man who became an attorney, and I adopted my first child and had my other two children. We had a great family together, and a few years later, I became a widow, and I'm a formerly married woman. I'm doing really well.
Not looking to mingle though, right?
I started to throw that
We're
in.
not putting it out there. We're not accepting any fan mail applications, no dating requests. And I think that I'm struck by how you introduced yourself as a widow, not that he passed away, because I did ask you who you are. And so you still, though, identify as the small town girl?
I do think of myself as that.
And I get that. I mean, that's accurate.
Right.
I just like to see how people see themselves. It's usually very different from how others see us.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would say like, oh, that Mary Porter, she was a small town girl.
Yeah.
I mean, if they grew up with you, probably. But, other than that, you don't act like a small town girl. But so one of the things I think that is most universal or relatable for you is that do you think your life is defined in any way by adversity?
No.
Okay. Do you think that if you said scale of 1 to 10, my life has been what?
8.
And have you ever had any formal therapy or counseling?
I don't think so.
And that is the part that blows my mind, because we've had conversations where I will talk about something or I'll say, Mom, your anxiety. And you're like, what anxiety? I'm like, are you kidding me? Let me list all the ways you have anxiety. And you're like, oh, well, that's what that is. Like, I mean, and so when it doesn't have a name, it just becomes a part of your personality, and you cope and you adjust and you adapt. And I guess you don't give it power in that way. Is that fair to say?
That's good. I'll take that.
Yep,
that's
sounds
fair.
good.
That's
I'll
fair.
take one of those.
Yeah, right.
So I would like, you have given me some advice over the years, a few different things. And so I kind of wanted to pick them apart a little bit briefly. They're good, or I wouldn't have asked you on camera. Wait a minute. Remember that time? I'm not going to talk about all my childhood trauma. That is for therapy. Kidding. But I do think that, so when I was going through the process, praying about adoption, foster parenting, and all that, I think part of you at first was like, oh, like kind of bracing for the emotional impact for me. Like, kind of what am I getting myself into that you're going to inevitably feel as my parent? And so I kind of would feel some like, I might be a little bit more adventurous than you. Is that safe to say in my decisions?
Oh, well, yes, especially what you are becoming now.
Right. I take leaps that maybe you're like, that would make my stomach turn, right?
Well, and I'm very surprised at how when you may be considering something, you may have talked about it off and on for years, and then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, unbeknownst to me,
it's
you
done.
make this major decision. Yeah.
Well, that's the way plants grow, right? They're in the
Absolutely.
dirt for a really long time and no one knows.
Absolutely.
And then there's a sprout. So when I was going through that process, I remember talking with you about it. And really, one of the cool things about your parenting, you've never really imposed your ideas or beliefs on me. This is how I did it. This is how you should do it. And so I would just kind of talk and think like she's going to, steer me in the right direction. And you really wouldn't, it was, I'd figure it out. But I remember filling out the application for foster parenting in Mississippi. And at the very bottom, you put what ages you're willing to accept. And I remember thinking like, this is a huge thing. I'm about to create the course for my life. I'm going to block something that I might need or supposed to be for me. And I'm going to open the door to something that isn't like, and I really struggled over it. And you kind of looked at me and I was in your kitchen and you said, it doesn't matter what you put. God is going to send you your child. And I was like, that is so freeing because did you know you were that wise?
No.
It was so freeing because I just thought, you're right. Like I don't, oh, ye of little faith in so many little things, but even as much as if it is meant for me, no matter, it's not going to not happen. I'm not more powerful than God. If I put a certain age on there, it's not going to not happen. And it was really freeing. And I remember discussing with you, what if I need this? Or, I kind of over-examine decisions. And you were just so much more, I don't say casual about it, but how did that approach come to be? Like, how did you become that person who just was, for me to be the adventure seeker, not really, I'm very cautious, but take more emotional risks that had to come from some sort of emotional risk in the past and wisdom that you gained?
Well, that could have been a one-time thing because
it was a fluke. Everything else out of your mouth has been horrible. Aren't you glad I remembered that one?
Because my first child was adopted, so I had that experience. And my husband and I kind of adjusted what age we wanted by what became available. And so it really wasn't too much of an issue as to what you put down to me.
I think too, did y'all have to do a form similar? I think you said like, Bill and I put so-and-so on ours and it doesn't matter.
Right. We put younger than what became available. And thank goodness he did become available. And
right. Thank goodness you're not also more powerful than God, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I've been able, so much of, what I do and advice I give comes from yours.
Oh dear. I'm sorry, everyone.
Don't go expecting royalties. I didn't say all of it. Very, very small portion, but very effective. So that was, it was just great advice. So I think you have a lot of wisdom. Now you told me it's a fluke, so I guess the interview's off and we can stop right here.
Thank you.
Okay, right. I'll edit out the hours of unuseful information. Okay. In I don't know if there's a ton of content out here. I don't know if maybe what I think is wise isn't. I don't know. But I think you had this crazy arrows in your quiver, the emotional skill set to handle tragedy. So let's go back. I'm going to ask you about when Dad died.
Mm-hmm.
But my recollection, loosely, so you were 39. Oldest child was 11. I'm 3. My little brother was 17, 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on a fishing trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not like warning.
No.
It's a normal day. He's just going fishing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Down in the Gulf.
Right. And then you get a call. Was it in the middle of the night?
It was not in the middle of the night.
Neighbor comes by. In one instant, one communication, your life changed, right?
Right. But not really, not yet, because
Sure.
there was, the hope, the missing, all of that. So it didn't present finality to me. It just presented, well, hold up, just wait. He's not caught up with y'all yet.
Right. And 1983, how much communication, not that he couldn't call, but he couldn't get to a phone maybe. He has to find a pay phone.
Yeah.
He has to, right.
Options.
So you, as much as detail as you want to provide, can you tell me the context? You tell me what happened. I don't want to put words in your mouth about what that event was.
Are you asking me what actually happened about the crash, or what happened at my household when I was getting information?
What are we talking about? You tell me what we're talking about so I don't feed you my words.
Well, I guess you're asking what actually happened to Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, he was in a seaplane coming back from having gone fishing for the day with 3 other people.
It was supposed to be a one-day thing, daytime?
Mm-hmm.
Left early morning?
Yes.
Okay.
And they got off a little later than they should have. And when the seaplane took off late of that afternoon, I think the right wing tipped the water when they were banking right. And that's where Bill was sitting, the front right seat. And the seaplane tilted over and crashed.
And at that point, it was dark, right?
It was dark.
And so without getting into what we understand happened now or believe happened now, as you kind of go back and try to rebuild it, in your world on that day, that would have had to been nighttime. So someone would have had to call you in the night, right?
Yes. And he said, we've had a crash. We are in New Orleans at the hospital. Bill is not with us, but they're getting him, and we'll bring him later.
Okay.
It's still, there was no
Right.
finality to
Right.
it for me. I was just in waiting mode.
Right. You'll let me know, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. Not that it was that casual. I'm sure it was scary, but, and then the next day, and I'm not trying to get into a ton of detail, but I kind of want you to walk me through how that felt for you, because grief is not something we're really taught how to navigate. And so what I'm wondering is, how did you handle that, your life turning upside down at 39 with 3 kids?
It was a gradual process at first because, as I mentioned to you, there were hope in different ways. And, it was very different because the head of household didn't show up at the front door every evening. I found myself sitting on the couch in the living room, rocking some baby to sleep. I guess it must have been
Needy
Billy.
middle child, I'm sure.
And I could watch the front door. And in the front door, we had a glass up on the upper 1/3 of it. And I used to see Bill, when he would come home in the evenings from work, through the window. So I would be rocking a baby and watching the front door for Bill to show up.
Waiting on that relief,
Yeah.
second shift to come in.
And everything was in the air for such a long, long time. And it was not until a year and 9 months later that the plane was discovered, turned upside down in about 12 feet of water. And
Not far from where it crashed, right?
no, not far from where it crashed. And the plane was lifted up and the remains were rescued, and my attorney brought them home.
Okay. So was there a period of time that you ever like remember consciously shifting to, he's not coming home? Or was it like, you want to prove it to me? I know legally y'all had to do paperwork and stuff to basically say we're going to have to assume, but personally, what was that like?
It's like you're just always looking over a shoulder thinking that person could show up. You didn't know for sure, but he could be coming home any day now. But then you listen to other people and you think, well, maybe he really didn't make it. So it's not a definitive state to stay in. There's always a small portion of you that says, wait, maybe that's him coming now.
Could you ever was either belief ever 100%? Like you could be like, he's gone. And then you flip to the other one, or was it always gray?
Always gray.
Yeah. And that's, to me, in any decision or any life event, I hate that stage. I'm always like, even if it's the good stuff, I'm like, just push through to the other side. I don't like the awkward, the uncomfortable, the painful. And that's probably why you're like, you get an idea and you move so fast. I don't like that stage. I need to get to the other side of this. Yeah. So a year and 9 months of literally feeling probably can't go backwards, can't go forward, just be. You just are waiting.
Well, it was kind of like being in a state of chaos because the city seemed to be full of ideas of where my husband was.
Everyone else knew.
Everyone else knew, yes. And they would call me and ask me questions or stop by my office or run into me anywhere. And so many of them firmly believed that Bill was just somewhere else.
Of his own volition. I mean, I know there were stories that like, no, he's running from so-and-so. He's in like Costa Rica, crazy. Like,
no, I never believed that.
I didn't say you believed it.
Right.
But the stories were not all rational.
Right.
And so you would hear things like, that people knew so much more than you did about your life.
Right.
I think it was painful too. Like, and I don't think, did people ever talk to you in a way that was like it was a story to you and you're thinking, this is my real life? You're asking me like I'm just going to talk about it like it's a book I read.
I would hear reports of, well, see, that was in November when the plane crash happened, November the 4th. And Christmas parties came after that. So then the main topic of conversation seemed to be, to me, the plane crash and Bill being missing.
You couldn't get away from it.
Couldn't get away from it. And it kind of took on a life of its own. It grew and grew and grew. And I was invited to come on TV and explain that. And I had been invited to come prior to that, though, before they found the plane, just to talk to the audience and help to calm people down, to tell them what the truth was. Isn't that a strange position to be in for the wife? We
need you to emotionally
widow?
Regulate everyone else.
Right. But I did it. I was invited.
Did you do it?
Absolutely, I did. And told everyone, this is what we know. This is what is factual. And this is what is not non-factual. Now, I don't have a body to present to you yet or anything, but I'm doing the best I can. But
apparently it's all my responsibility. Right. Good thing I'm not taking care of all these kids at home or trying to figure out how to pay the bills, but let me make sure y'all are okay.
Right.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And of course, it was a major topic at the Christmas parties and all of those sorts of things.
Did you want it just to stop? I mean, obviously you want it to go away, but like just the conversation to stop. Like, can we turn the page? Can we move on to a new subject? Can something else crazy happen that we can quit talking about me?
Yes, I did, but I didn't let it get the best of me
Sure.
because I had too many other responsibilities to get upset about frivolous stuff. And things were not reality. That was their problem, not mine.
That's a really, really healthy boundary. And I don't know how you did it at that age. How did you function? Like the day to day, you are in this suspended disbelief of what is happening. How did you function?
With the help of other people.
Did you ask for help? Or did people just show up and thank goodness they did? And both.
Both. Well, after his death, people didn't know whether I was going to have a funeral or what I was going to do, but people would bring me cakes, just like, when you have a funeral. And
were you thinking,
bring
like,
us
I don't
food?
need this food. Everything's fine.
Right.
But I'll take the cake.
No,
Thank
I
you.
was glad to have it. Thank you very much.
I'll keep the cake, but everything's fine.
Look, the next shift comes.
Right. Rock the baby. I'm going to take a nap, have some cake.
Oh, yes.
But everything's fine.
But I did have my pastor's wife came and took you and your older brother to a park or somewhere, and I think the baby, so that I could take a hot bath and take a nap. So that
And it's
sort
amazing
of thing was
how
nice.
So 42 years ago, you remember getting to take a hot bath and a nap.
Yep.
I just need to emphasize that, because that is not just a thing with grief. And as we think about what a woman carries, whether it is the courtesy and the value of seeing your strange scene that you needed the basics, stands out.
Right. I was so thankful.
Hello,
for that.
any men who might potentially be listening. If you see a struggling mother or wife, she needs a nap and a bath.
Mhm.
Bubble bath optional, but preferred. Also the cake. There was the cake. So you said that, so you were supposed to like carry the emotional burden of everyone else. But like prior to that, did you pay the bills? Did you have the bank accounts? Did you do any of that single parenting stuff that you suddenly had to learn or do?
No, I knew well how to do that because I had always had a side job. So I was used to having my own bank account, handling my own bills. And then Bill had his bank account and the whole bills. And then he would give me kind of like an allowance, so much a month.
Because you weren't working full time at that point.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you had access to money, like emergency money that was in your account, I guess, at the time.
Did I have emergency money?
Yeah, it may not have been much, but literally, like, I just think in the 80s, that wasn't necessarily common. I mean, if he were gone, a lot of people would have had no access to money. I think it's just important. And
if I remember correctly, Bill and I had, both of our names were on the account.
But you had access.
So I had access to it and could pay our bills.
Did you know what they were?
Yeah.
Okay. And that wasn't meant to belittle you, but I don't know that there's just such basic things that I don't think people realize are important, that y'all each had to know about your finances, because something like that can happen.
It is very important for a wife to know what the bills are, what the financial responsibilities of that home.
And how to manage it. I mean, even if it's so great, some man comes in on a white horse and wants to take care of you and your place is in the kitchen. Well, not wonderful for me, but wonderful. That doesn't mean you get to check out of the family's finances. You never know what can happen.
Right.
So were you eating? Were you sleeping? What was that like?
I just didn't worry about that. Sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't. I had 3 children to take care of. Who cares about me? Just go ahead and put the one step in front of the other one and keep going. Just do.
You put it in a box. I'll deal with that when I need to open that box. Right now, I can't open that box.
Well, yes and no, because you are dealing with it. You are answering questions. You're going to the see the attorney. You're going to the bank.
But you're
I was
functioning.
doing. I'm function.
You're
I
not
was
processing the
functioning.
emotional part of it. You
Um,
can't. I mean, I would think it's like if I open this, I might not can close it back. Right now, I need to keep it closed because I can't.
So you got to put one foot in front of the other.
I remember asking you years back, and you said you had to focus on eating. Like, I need to make sure I get food in my body. I needed to, and you said you prayed for sleep. That was the hardest part because you knew if you couldn't sleep, you could not take care of your kids. Do you remember that?
There it is. I don't remember telling you that, but there.
But you were like, and you were like, I knew I couldn't do it either. Like, I had to pray for sleep. It was not within my capacity to sleep. It had to be like a supernatural thing because your body didn't even know how to take care of itself.
Yeah, my mind just couldn't stop.
And the other thing you said, one that you made sure that you got sunlight every day, and you said you had to put on makeup every day. Do you remember saying that or doing that?
Yeah, another widow suggested that to me.
What was the point, and did it have that intended impact when you did it?
The point was to pull yourself up by your bootstrings and put one foot in front of the other and look halfway decent while you're doing it.
Did that have any impact? Are you glad you did that? Or are you like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard?
No, I never regarded advice as being dumb.
I know.
All help
did
appreciated.
It help?
It helped. Yes, it did.
And I think for you, that was normalcy.
Yeah.
It was like, it was self-care, normalcy, putting on a normal face, kind of a fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I put my pretty face on, everything will be pretty again. You know, like I'll just will this away. I can make it not happen. I think you said too, that if you didn't look like you were grieving, fewer people would talk to you like you were grieving. And you were like, it was like, and then maybe that was it. Like people were expecting you to carry the emotional load and talk about it. And you were like, I just couldn't. I just needed to, even if you dealt with it privately, shouldn't have been a public party.
I did feel like I was carrying some other people with that situation. They were really having a hard time handling it. And I was in a way, but I didn't have time to stop.
Get together, people.
Yeah, that's right. I had children to take care of and to figure out my finances and how we were going to make it. And so, yeah.
Even having gone through something that, I don't know, very, very small portion of the population have gone through, you don't consider your life having been one of adversity?
No.
What do you think your life is or was or has been?
One full of blessings. Oh my goodness. From every corner. I mean, I had wonderful and interesting parents. And I had Bill's family. They all stepped right in and tried to help and support us as best they could.
Right.
And good neighbors. We had a home. I had to struggle to pay for it after that, but
I remember we ordered pizzas with pennies. And let me tell you, that is character building. Not because, but because another wise thing you said was, you never said we can't afford it. You said, how can we afford it? And that shaped the way I looked at money too, I also remember another lesson where you were like, here's the checkbook. Do you see that? That's a zero. Quit asking me. So there may have been that. But generally it was, I don't know, can we order a pizza? How much change is in the coffee tins? And we would count the change and order the pizza. But it wasn't no. It was, let's figure out.
How can we make this happen?
Right. I don't know. And possibly that's because you don't want to tell your kid no. But it was just, I don't know. Let's see if we can figure it out. So I totally interrupted you, which is, you're probably going to say something again profound.
No, I was just thinking about, that's the way to me, in my mind, that's the way it should be in life. I mean, you just don't offer out a blanket yes or no. And
Well, now I know why I was a lawyer. It all depends, right?
right. There's some change in the
Right.
sock drawer back there that we could use to get that
Has
pizza
anyone
with.
checked the couch cushions?
Right. Yeah, we can make this happen. We can do it. We can do it. Just give me a few minutes. We'll figure this out.
I've probably repeated that very thing. And I think too, you were always willing to I remember you kind of let Billy and me, Yancey, one not so much because parenting him was different from parenting us.
And he was older.
Yeah, I was going to say he was much older. So from my recollection, his disciplinary things were totally different than what I'm about to talk about. But as Billy and I would fight or get older or whatever the case may be, beyond the spanking years, because my husband will say, you don't believe in spanking. I got spanked. I remember getting spanked. And Billy and I would jump on the bed to try to get away from you. And we learned quickly to go to opposite corners because you couldn't catch both of us at the same time. And so
Good strategy.
I would kind of sacrifice him in the process. But then if he moved, I would go to the opposite corner. But anyway, we got spanked. But you let us participate in our own punishment. And so as we got older and we would get in trouble, you would say, okay, so what did you do? You tell me what you did. Okay, so what do you think would be an appropriate punishment for that? And I think about how that plays out not just in parenting, but what I do legally, where I'm thinking, in so many areas of life, I don't know, yes, the consequence should kind of fit the crime. We weren't robbing banks at 6 or 7, but, but also that there's so much more buy-in when someone else is helping problem solve with you. And so, the kid offers their own punishment. What, are they going to object to it later? It was your idea. You think it's a good idea, right? But it taught me a lot in general, not just, that's running a business, is saying, I don't know, what do you think this outcome should be? And then letting someone else have a voice, and they're much more likely to think of it as collaborative. Now, it absolutely could have been a plan. And all along, we just fell right into your little hands, but it was very wise. And I think also if you end up the only parent, you're almost no, really help me because I don't have anyone to bounce this off of. Right. So I'm going to ask the kids. So what, in that process of then single parent, I say grieving, did you ever feel like you were judged by how you grieved? There was a right way. No one would tell you what it was. They just would only tell you when you weren't doing it right.
No, I don't recall.
Good. I think societally we do that. And that's why I was wondering. We're very quick to judge that, that's not how I would act if I had been through that, or that's not how I would respond, as if we know how we would respond, right, and then judge how someone else does. I didn't know if you went through that either. Apparently not, because you were on TV telling them how to manage it, right?
Well, that did happen.
You were directing the chorus. What was the hardest part of being widowed at 40?
The insecurity of it and the lack of help.
In what way?
The physical help of handling 3 children. And the moral support, lack of moral support. But yet, I can't even truthfully say that, Elizabeth, because so many people supported me. I mean, how could do I have the right to even complain about that? So,
well, and I think too, I hear what you're saying, but then as someone who both lived it and I know anyway, just because you have a husband does not mean you have their physical support on the day-to-day tasks. He was an attorney. He worked late hours. It was the 80s. They went to the bar afterwards. He wasn't home early. I mean, he had his demands, his own life. That doesn't mean he was there helping you. And it also doesn't mean that a spouse is always morally supportive. So we have to rely on, whether that has happened to us, divorce, death, your community is vital, right? I mean, that partner, that spouse may not give you those things no matter if they are present.
True.
So the value of you were plugged into a church, your neighborhood, at that time, we were more community based, I think, than we are now in our little tech world behind our phones. Mm-hmm. And so you had people coming over in person. you had the church, you had, and I know back then a lot of the wives of the lawyers were close. The lawyers were close. So people really kind of pitched in a small town feeling way.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever feel robbed of that growing up. I remember, and I've told other people as they've dealt with the loss of the other parent of their child, I'm not going to say what God has taken, or I guess what God allows, that he will give, tenfold. Like there will be 10 other people, I promise, who step up and try to nurture that child in a way that you would have wished that partner could have, whether they were physically, whether it was divorce or death or whatever, inability. So not everyone, there are a lot of people who don't have that and not under those circumstances. And I think I've advised people often to really plug into community because of things like this.
Oh, I remember when I recruited a man to be Billy's daddy for the Cub Scout camp out.
I remember.
And it was one of your friends' fathers.
Yep.
And that's just the way I had to do it. I mean, I was fresh out of daddy's for him. So I had
there are other people who come up with other solutions. I appreciate yours. We borrowed, gave them right back.
That's right.
But I think
no strings attached.
Right. It's the essence of foster parenting. It's not, but it's just stepping in and bridging a gap when a family needs it.
Right.
And we in this individual society we have now, kids aren't watching TV in the den. They're on their devices. Parents, we're on our devices and we're not communicating. We're not in the family room. And so I think it's so, I wish we could go back more to seeing that a family has a need. And instead of saying, I need to mind my business, I need to stay in my lane. It's okay to, as a community, try to meet a need that somebody may have.
Absolutely.
Especially as it pertains to children.
Yep.
So I do recall that. And I didn't really remember how that happened or took place, but I know that, that was a very meaningful relationship that you helped develop for Billy at that time.
Yeah.
So really it was the day-to-day practical stuff that was really the hardest.
Yes. But I didn't think of it as being hard. It's just, we got to find the way to make it work. This is our family. So just give me a minute. I'll have to work it out, but we'll be able to do this,
What do you mean by this is our family?
All of the other families had daddies to go to an event, and we didn't, but we'll make it work,
Right. And also you've always been solution oriented. Like we're not going to sit here and wallow in what is, yes, this sucks. This is what we're dealing with. Named it, addressed it. Now we got to find the solution for it.
Right. Just give me a minute. I'll be there.
Fine.
Whoa.
I'm not going to eat, bathe, or sleep, but I will have a solution. Do you see the strength in everything you did?
No. Because I didn't think of needing the strength to get it done. I just thought it had to be done. Dadgummit, let's get the show on the road. Not going to leave me and my children out.
Who claps for you?
Elizabeth. Oh.
Who claps for you? Did you learn to do it yourself?
You mean back then or
in
now?
In general.
Well, back then I had parents who were so supportive. My parents, and they...
I mean, and I know Dad's family did that too. I don't mean, you're saying my parents, but I know what you mean.
Logistically, they
continued to parent you at 40.
Right. That's right. And Bill's mother and family were close by, and that helped too.
So, did you learn not to need it, or did you learn to find it?
Help and support.
Clapping, celebration, pat on the back, good job, encouragement, a cheerleader.
No, I didn't.
Didn't know you needed it?
No, I didn't know I needed it. I just did what had to be done, I don't remember having any time to sit and think that No, but one has recognized me or praised me for something. You know, it's go get Billy out of the backyard. He's on top of the house, or, something like that.
Well, I couldn't. I was also on top of the house. Okay. Well, what would you say? So what is your greatest adversity?
Adversity.
What's the hardest thing you've been through?
You just have to give me a few minutes to think of something.
Nope, we don't have time. So next.
I know. I'm sorry. I just don't. It doesn't stay in the forefront of my memory. Do you know something that would be my greatest adversity?
No. I mean, no, because I can't pick that for you, you know. The other thing I was going to say is, what do you think is your greatest accomplishment? Because
my greatest accomplishment,
besides me,
well, is the way my children have turned out, in spite of me. I mean, really, all three are successful and happy and well grounded. I'm just really proud of what Bill and I made and adopted. you
yeah.
know?
And then what would you tell someone else going through sudden grief? What advice could you give to like the 40-year-old you?
Mine would be very practical things like make sure you eat, make sure you get some sleep, and make sure that you do something to relieve stress, preferably going for a walk. Just do something because this is a long haul
It's a marathon.
thing. It's a marathon. It's not an overnighter. And you keep yourself in good working order because you're in control now.
Which would be appropriate time to tell people you're 82.
Uh-huh.
Like, beautiful with it. Letting me interview you physically, I would say that carried you well.
Thank you.
So, and then what would you, so as I first framed it as what you would tell someone else, what would you tell the 40-year-old you?
The 40-year-old me?
Mm-hmm. The freshly bewildered, what in the world is happening you?
Don't be afraid to ask someone else for advice, an expert preferably, not just
the idiot at the bar.
Right.
The one offering you the advice.
Right. And make sure that you keep your finances in order because they're not going to do it by themselves. And make sure that you include everyone. If I'm in grief, there are other people in grief too. And take time for yourself and take time for others.
There were many years I really got tired of being asked if I was Mary Porter's daughter. Because I was, but I was also Elizabeth Porter. I wasn't just Mary Porter's daughter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it is the honor of my life to be your daughter. So thanks for not literally throwing the baby out with the bathwater when I tried to wear you down. Thanks for sticking in with me. And thanks for, letting me ask you questions because
certainly
part of asking you is, figuring me out too. So thank you.
Well, I'm flattered that you were interested in my point of view.
What was those few wise things you said over the years, that left me thinking there was more?
Sorry, that's all I've got.
String me along. I wait every few years. But I appreciate it. Thank you. And I think that I know you minimize what strength and courage and I don't even know how to explain whatever it is that you have that we wish we could bottle up and sell. But you minimize it and you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Thank you.
You did such a good job at being single early on that you've stayed single. You were like, this independence ain't that bad. I figured all this out. I don't want to share again.
Yep, I have been for years and years.
Yep. But you learned how to stand on your own 2 feet quickly. And sometimes it's the only way we do learn.
And I was so proud of myself for figuring out how to buy a lot on a lake. I'd always wanted, that was my dream, have a home on a lake,
water.
on
Yeah.
water. And at that time, Hattiesburg did not have a lake
Yeah.
in the city limits.
School district and all that stuff for your kids.
School district, but I wanted to be close to my parents who were alive then too. And they were in Hattiesburg.
Yep.
And I had to be able to get to them quickly in an emergency. And lo and behold, a lake was built in Hattiesburg.
Around the corner.
Far away. Right. And there were many lots for sale. And I got in on this subdivision from the bottom and got my home on the lake.
Yep. By yourself. By yourself with 3 pieces of dead weight holding on to your ankles. Good job. Yeah, I think it's a life well lived. I'm proud.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you to our sponsor, Porter Law Group, for supporting these conversations. When family is on the line, experience matters. Porter Law Group specializes in custody and family law with compassion at every step. Visit porterlaw.ms now to schedule your consultation to protect what matters most.